My ancestors, actually from a couple of sides of the family, came across the Oregon Trail, so my roots are very deep in Oregon. I'm married to a family physician, Dr. Mike. Mike found a job. He found a clinic that when I met them, I understood why he wanted to come to Oregon City. Oregon City at the time was really not very focused on being the end of the Oregon Trail. We got this idea to put on an outdoor historical drama. We called it the Oregon Trail Pageant. So that was the first thing I did, which actually introduced me to Willamette Falls. Willamette Falls for me held many mysteries. Why did it have that artificial barrier at the top? How did the salmon get over? And why were those two big mills built on its shores? It stimulated my curiosity, and then I learned the answer to some of those questions. You know, salmon so thick that you walk across the stream on their backs, how fertile the land was, and that in their early days, of course, industries built on the edge of waterfalls because they needed the power. And then throughout all of that research, I learned about the displacement of the native peoples. It still fascinates me today to learn about the many layers of history that happened in Oregon's first incorporated city. The fact that we were the territorial capital, that it was the center of government, it was the center of industry and commerce, kind of because of the falls. That was the magnet. That's why people settled here. They wanted the power of the falls. My husband and I have canoed many times up under the lip of the falls. And I think probably one of the most dramatic things for our family is that it's nature, and the flood of 1996 affected our family directly. Community support was so overwhelming. About 65 people of the community down at the family practice clinic and helping pull out the files to go into U-Haul trucks to get to safety. We worked way into the early morning to clean out the office. But the sun shone on a beautiful, bright blue sky the next morning, and we didn't have anything to do, and so we thought, let's just take our canoe out on the floodwaters. So we put the canoe in, and we rowed past the flooded grocery store. We went on down by the end of the Trail Interpretive Center. The water was way up into the wagons. We really had an enjoyable canoe ride, a little ominous, but then we decided to go down to the overlook where Dr. McLaughlin's bust is, and the falls barely fell. I mean, it was like a foot of fall. The water was flowing so high, it really wasn't much of a waterfall, and you could see the water going through the mill. As I was preparing to run for mayor, I listened to the community. I wanted to pick up the threads of what the community wanted. And I looked at my old speeches that I was giving in 2002 as I was running, and many of them were peppered with the probable transformation of the Blue Heron site. So it was very much in the thought processes of the community. When the 175 workers were laid off, it was a tragedy for the community, but also an opportunity. This is 22 acres on Oregon City's waterfront. It sort of divided the old historic downtown Oregon City in two, and it actually absorbed some of the historic buildings, the old Opera House, the old Oregon City woolen mill. So many of those historic layers are on that Blue Heron site. We have a 150-foot right-of-way that the developer has given to the public. So for the first time, we're going to have a river walk that will be public access, a public experience. The community has driven what's now become the Willamette Falls Legacy Project. The 4 core values came from the community. What do we want to have happen there? We want healthy habitat, we want access to views of the falls, we want economic development, and we want cultural interpretation of the layers of history that are so important. It was so interesting when I was mayor I called it a treasure hunt, because people would tell me about things I never heard about in the community, and it was like digging up treasure. And I feel like the Willamette Falls Legacy Project is another hidden treasure that is this region. In a way, working on it's kind of an accumulation of all the things that I've done and learned throughout my time of community service. I want to see this project finished in my lifetime. I would love to be able to walk on the Riverwalk, sit there and feel the spray of the falls in my face, and think about the transformative power of the water and of the human beings that that have lived there in the past and that will come and visit in the future. Thank you.